לוי ששוחרר אתמול מהשבי של חמאס בעזה, שאל את אחיו על הרש גולדברג-פולין, שאיתו הוא היה במיגונית, מיגונית המוות, ברעים ב7 באוקטובר. ויחד איתו הוא נחטף לעזה. אור היה משוכנע שהרש שוחרר הרבה לפניו. מיכאל, אחיו של אור, שיתף אתמול את רייצ'ל וג'ון, הוריו של הרש, בשאלה הזאת של אור. אנחנו שוחחנו עם רייצ'ל גולדברג-פולין.
Shalom, Oded.
Thank you very much, Rachel, for talking to us.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Can you share with us your conversation with Michael, Or's Levy brother, yesterday?
We spoke to Michael, Or's brother, yesterday, and he called right after Shabbat to speak to John, to share with him that one of Or's very first questions upon being released was, how is Hersh doing? And of course, you know, we have become close with Michael and Or's extended family, but specifically Michael throughout this struggle. And it really touched us that amidst everything that they were juggling with yesterday, that Michael felt it was very important that we were notified as soon as Shabbat was out that Or was concerned about Hersh, and that Or's understanding was that Hersh had been released alive a long time ago. And he was so in the dark, Or was so kept out of the being informed of what was happening that he didn't know, and Michael had to explain to him that Hersh and the other 5 beautiful young people had been executed more than 5 months ago at this point.
It's unbelievable how many details he didn't know about his wife that was murdered there, about Hersh, the friendship that was created there in the bomb shelter near Reim during this awful October 7th.
Yes, and also I should mention that he said right away to, or said right away to Michael, I must at some point meet Aner's family, because Aner was such a gibor, such a hero that day. And I said to John right away, the reason that Or Levy walked back into the world yesterday and is back with his family and with his son Almog today is because of Aner Shapira, Zichrono Livracha.
Did you know all the details of what was happening there in this bomb shelter? The fact that Aner and Hersh repelled the grenades, and what happened between them, between those who survived there?
To be honest with you, I think that the whole situation was so traumatic for me personally that I still don't know many of the details of what happened in the Migunit. I know that Aner was repelling many of the grenades before he was killed, and I know that others, including Or and others, were also repelling grenades out of the Migunit. But I still have not listened to those recordings or heard those details, because for me it's still just too painful.
And looking at the 3 hostages that came back yesterday, the fact that they lost so much weight and that they were in ordeal, in terrible days, what went through your mind when you saw them?
What went through my mind is that nobody should be surprised. We know from 162 days ago, when we buried Hersh and the other 5 beautiful young people who were killed with Hersh, Ori, Almog, Alex, Carmel, and Eden, we knew then, as did decision makers, that those were returned skeletal. Hersh was returned, he was just over 1.80 meters, and he was returned 53 kilo. We know that Eden Yerushalmi, who was 1.60 meters, was returned at 36 kilo. We know that Alex Lubanov lost 1/3 of his weight. So this is not news. What's new is that we were seeing them yesterday, where when all of the 6 families were sharing this at the end of August, when our loved ones were returned to us, not only skeletal as the men were yesterday, but our loved ones were returned filthy from not having bathed in months and with multiple bullet wounds and bloody. But this is not a surprise, and anyone in a position of power who is pretending that they were not aware of the conditions is really being performative.
So this is why you, Rachel, and John, you approached directly President Trump and Steve Witkoff and asked them to do whatever they can, and they can, to bring back all the hostages immediately?
Correct. We just felt that we had to make a beseeching plea to President Trump and Mr. Witkoff, who are the ones who have gotten the movement going in this region. And what we were asking, we're just parents who are bereaved. We're a mishpacha shekula. We're regular people. But President Trump and Mr. Witkoff have spent their entire careers being deal virtuosos and professionals. And this deal, we feel, again, as people who are not seasoned in making deals, is a deal that should be expedited. It should be speeded up. As it stands right now, we still have months for this to unroll. And as we saw from yesterday, there is not time for the hostages who are still there, if they continue to come out in these depleted and devastating conditions. We are really playing with fire here, and we asked who is benefiting from this deal being stretched out so long. What is the point of that? If we want to get hostages released immediately and we want calm in the region immediately, why are we stringing this out longer? Who is benefiting from that?
Let me ask you one more question, Rachel. You approach President Trump and not Prime Minister Netanyahu? Why? You gave up the idea of talking to the Prime Minister?
Well, we have had a relationship with the American administration, and they've been very open and welcoming to us, both the Biden administration and the Trump administration, because they are the ones who uncorked the stuckness that we had been enduring for so very long. And because they're the ones who are used to getting things going, because as I mentioned before, they are such experts at getting deals to come together, it seemed that it was the right address.
So finally, do you know when are you going to meet with Or Levy?
You know, we are being very sensitive to the reality that Or has lived through such a traumatic ordeal. And Or is coming back to his beautiful son and his parents and his brothers and his friends and his community. Tragically for us, Hersh is never coming back. So I don't feel that it's dachuf, that he needs to meet with us immediately. I think I want to respect his process of healing and of recovery and of being with his family and the people around him who can shower him with love and compassion. And we feel obviously a connection to him, but whenever the time is right for him is when we will be happy to meet him. And if it's never the right time, we will respect that. But we are giving him all the room that he needs and wishing him a full and speedy recovery. Refuat ha-nefesh, refuat ha-guf.
Hersh Goldberg-Polin, I thank you very much for talking to me.
Thank you, Oded.